Good morning, everyone. Morning. Good morning, Amy.
Morning.
How are you? Can everyone hear us okay on the and see us okay on the video? Just give us a little thumbs up if you can.
I might need to get my headphones. This is very not okay. You okay, Dave?
I'm okay, yeah.
How are you feeling after last night?
I'm feeling great. Another win, another 4 points, another 3 points, should we say? And it's all grew. All of a sudden, everything is rosy in the garden, and you're looking. Considering you've been out for a race this morning, running around. How did you get on, by the way?
Fine. I mean, it's virtual racing because we're not allowed to actually race each other. But okay, it was very windy and very wet. So I literally just got into the house 20 minutes ago, hence why we're a little bit late. So it's not Dave's fault, it's completely my fault.
No,
he was probably here about half an hour early.
2 seconds ago, you were moving washing from the one side, weren't you, as well? She's like,
don't tell anyone about my washing. My washing was in the background, but anyway, it's very unprofessional this morning.
We're loving it. And so we're all ready to go. And we've already got in the green room Michael, Scott, Thomas, Paul, Brent, and Speedy, and we've already got over 50 in watching in the chat at the moment, which is absolutely wonderful. And Amy, I mean, obviously it was a late finish, and obviously when it's sort of like an 8 o'clock start, and it's not finishing until sort of 10 o'clock, and with all the stuff we have to do, it's quite late, especially you know, when we have to get up in the morning nice and early. So how are you feeling the night after, and what's your sort of thoughts about the game? Who's your man of the match? I'm going to be interested to see your man of the matches and your rating for the performance before we bring on our guests.
So many questions there, Dave. Well, I mean, this just shows why we are football fans at the end of the day, doesn't it? Because 3 weeks ago, we played Palace, dismal performance at Palace, which I think we all agree. No fight, no interest, no one seems to want to be there. 3 weeks later, we've dropped 2 points against Leicester and put in a very good performance when you can't grumble at that 0-0 draw against Leicester. And they've won the rest. So I like to say that I was still positive in that situation. It was frustrating, but still positive. But, you know, they've turned it around, and we knew that they had the capability to do it. We just went through a bad patch that we've not experienced in 3 years. So I guess everyone's so used to the good performances, the wins, everything about that. But it's just, you just have blips in time. It's life in general, isn't it? Cat's here. And so I just thought that performance last night was just so good. There's just everything about it to me. I actually really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed watching them play for the first time in weeks. They just came back from where they left off against Southampton in the second half. They all got fired. They all seemed fired up, and it was just really good to watch. And I looked early today, and Leeds have only not scored again in 4 games this season. And 2 of those games against Wolves. The other one is Brighton and Spurs, and they've scored against every other team in the league. So to keep another clean sheet against a very good Leeds side, I just thought everything about the performance last night was really good. Rui was my man of the match.
I am intrigued to see who it will be, whether you agree with mine.
Rui.
Boom for the second. I
didn't even know that you'd said Rui, actually. Yeah, I didn't even know. But I mean, you say he just kept us in the game. They should have finished better some of their shots, 100%, because if they'd have been down the other end, you'd have been a bit annoyed that they'd not put them away. And that offside was a little bit closer than I think we all thought when it went to VAR. I think Cody's foot nearly didn't get us the win. I've got to be honest with
you, when you first saw it, you think, oh, he's miles off. And when they started looking at it on VAR, you go, oh my God. Which one's the line for Cody? But we did get away. It was a good finish from Bamford, to be fair.
He had a few good chances, didn't he? I mean, both teams did. It was just end to end, and okay, little bit of luck with the goal, some people will say, but he struck that so well. If Adama hadn't hit it as hard as he did, it wouldn't have ricocheted the way that they did, and it wouldn't have bounced off the keeper. So it was Adama's goal.
I mean, I'm so pleased for him. I mean, it was an absolute thunderbolt, and I like how Nuno's inverted the wingers, and they can run inside. That suits Adama, especially the way he hit that shot. And when he hit the bar, I thought, oh, how unlucky. And then it bounced down and the keeper had bounced over the line. We're having a bit of luck in the last few games, and I think we're well overdue it. Before we get on to bring in our guests, Tom Hancock, it's his dad's birthday. So can we give Phil a shout out? Happy birthday, Phil. Happy birthday. Enjoy your day. And all around here, look, he is watching from Philadelphia of the US of A, 6 a.m. And those that, I don't know whether you know this, but the Philadelphia Eagles are my NFL team. I've adopted them as my team, the Philadelphia Eagles. They were absolutely rubbish this year, but I don't know whether all around is an Eagles fan. So we've got like loads on again today or backstage. The first up, let me change the background. Get the timer ready as well. I've got my timer ready. Yeah. We're going to bring on Michael. Hello, Michael.
How are we doing? You all right?
Hi, Michael. You okay?
Join us this morning, mate.
Yeah, good. You still enjoying Thomas's punditry?
We do. I think he's backstage as well.
Yeah.
If you they've had a fallout, they're not coming on together.
No, we're in different homes at the moment, so.
Oh right.
We don't live together, so yeah. So I said I'd go on this morning. So yeah, it was about 2-3 weeks since I've been on, and a lot's changed. To be honest, we were talking about whether we were sure we would stay up, and now we're sort of looking at can we have a little sort of late burst into Europe. So it can all change so quickly. Absolutely, it can. But that that's football, isn't it? You get a few wins, a few run under your belt, and you're good to go again. No, it's been really good. I've still got that little niggle though. I can't get rid of it that we could be playing Bournemouth in the quarterfinal of the FA Cup. You've just got to get over that, Michael. You've just got to get over that. To the two of you, if you could choose, if at the start of the season, if you could have chose one, a place in the Europa League for next season or an FA Cup final appearance, what would you have gone with? Are we assuming the fact that fans can't be there? Maybe, yeah. A Europa spot, because I'm just saying that they'd lose the final. We wouldn't have been able to be there. Yeah. Then they're in Europe anyway, so that's a bit not a very straight answer, but that's the political answer that I'm going to give you. Do you know what? Michael? I was talking about this on my live watch along yesterday, and I'm loving the fact that you can see the confidence seeping back into the team. You can just see we have had a lot of luck in the last few games. I mean, the Arsenal game, if you'd have said 44 minutes into the Arsenal game, would have had 10 points from that all of those games. From how we should have been 4-0 down at that time, and now it's turned. I mean, amazing. But in the answer to your question, I am niggled by the FA Cup as well because I felt it was an opportunity. However, Amy made me feel a lot better when she said to me and messaged me, and she said, would you really want to watch the FA Cup sat on your sofa? And the answer to that is no, I wouldn't. I want to be, my dad's lifelong dream, and he's like now 83, 84, is to go to an FA Cup final and sing Abide With Me. I will tell you now, I will probably blubber at Abide With Me. The emotion would be amazing. So not to be able to get to the FA Cup final and not to be able to have that experience with my dad, in the stands, I feel would be a loss. So I'd rather us wait a year. But I do think it's a missed opportunity. So this year, if we were to get a European place for next season, and then we can guarantee getting to the FA Cup final that next year as well, I think I'd take that. But I do get your point. I think a lot of fans I do get the point as well. I do think, especially with how things were going, it was just more of a disappointment that he didn't go for the cup. And now we're on the back of two
league wins, it's a bit frustrating because you think if they'd played against Leeds like they did against Southampton in the cup, can't get my words out this morning, then I don't think Southampton would have had a chance of getting through that cup game. So it's frustrating. But then if they'd have won the cup and then they'd have lost 2 on the bounce in the league, we'd have all been sat here like, and then we could have still been knocked. I don't know. It's all circumstantial, isn't it? It's just. But yeah, I mean, it would be nice to see them in the final. It would be nice to see them win the cup. But then the selfish part of me has been like, I'd have hated to not been there.
Just 2 very quick points. The first one, how bad does Jose need a goal? Bless him at the moment. You can see it in his face. You know, he's desperate to score. And the other thing was, I've seen on Twitter quite a lot of stick that Fabio's getting, and even off Wolves fans. I think if we remember, if you go back 12, 18 months, Pedro Neto looked distinctly average to me. And in 12 to 18 months, he's built himself up, and he now looks like he's going to be, you know, he's going to play for a big, big club. So I think we should remember that Fabio's very young. You know, he's got to grow, and that's exactly what Neto did over 12 to 18 months. And he's gone to who looked at a reasonable player to now somebody who looks like he's got the potential to be a world beater. I think Fabio could do the same thing. He's not as quick, but
yeah.
I think that's a good point. I thought actually when Fabio came on last night for the end of the game, I thought he did really well when he came on. He had that one shot. Okay, I don't know whether it took deflected, but it was a good shot. And he was chasing the ball down from the front. You can see he's got that desire in him. And I think I think that's a fair point that you make, Michael, about him. You know, he's been thrown in the deep end quicker, and I think
he's only 5-6 years older than Thomas. So yeah, I think, you know, you have to think
he's so young. I've always been very team Fab, so I understand why people are frustrated, but I don't think it's necessarily the right approach, especially with a young player. And, you know, playing devil's advocate here is people getting back on Silva's back when he'd started 5 games and he'd not scored, and Jose's coming in and he's not done the same. So, okay, he's got better hold-up play, but if you're looking for goals, then it's not fair to be saying what everyone's saying to Fabio when Jose's not done the same. And I'm not having to go at Jose at all. It's a different league, it's a different country, it's circumstantial, but people need to be careful with what they say.
Okay, just quickly, Michael, because we're out of time. I've just got to finish off there to quickly get your man of the match and your performance rating.
Rui Patricio, and I'll go for an 8.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us. Some brilliant comments today, Michael. And we'll see young Thomas, your son, is up the next but one. Next up, we're going to have Scott. Thanks for joining us, mate.
Bye. See you soon.
For those who are watching on the YouTube channel, obviously you can see the beautiful cat that is Blossom, who likes to get on the stream. If you're listening in the podcast, describe Blossom for the people listening on the podcast, Amy.
She's a British blue. She's like a mini wolf. She's grey and she's got gold and black eyes. She's very fluffy.
She is a beautiful cat. And Scott has got another one of his retro tops on today. I think that's a keeper's top you've got on, Scott. From what year is that?
I think, if I remember correctly, this is the keeper's top with Will Norris's number on from the Championship season. Actually, no. It might be the first season we was back in the Premier League.
Yeah, it's Adidas, so it must be the first season of the Prem.
Yeah, I got it a while ago when I wanted to try my hand in goalkeeping and didn't go according to plan. So, but yeah, it's something I just whacked off for this morning because everything else is in the wash.
How are you, Scott? How do you feel after last night?
I'm good. Really happy. 4 games, 10 points. A possible another 3 coming against Newcastle. Fingers crossed.
Yeah. They're falling back into it, Newcastle. I feel like they could start to become in a relegation battle, to be honest with you.
I'll tell you what, Amy, I looked at the table. Obviously, I looked at the table with a lot more joy the last couple of games, and I was looking at the bottom 3 and wondering, I hope they don't put a run together. And now I feel quite chilled. I'm not worried about it, but I did look at it, and Fulham are only 6 points behind Newcastle now, and they're playing well.
They're playing Sheffield United today as well, Fulham, so that's an opportunity for them.
I think that's a big game for both clubs. I think if Sheffield fail to win that, they're gone. I think it's going to be pretty much the same for the Baggies. They're playing Burnley. They've got to win that game, and I think there's probably one spot that could still be up for grabs. And Newcastle, really, if Fulham win today, there's 3 points in it.
Absolutely.
But if you look at the fact as well that they beat Everton, and they probably wasn't expecting to beat Everton, and then to find out they got Sheffield United next as well. If I was a Fulham fan, I'd be hopeful of getting out of there.
Yeah.
And if we can help them by beating Newcastle, which also helps us even better, especially with the fact that we've got Liverpool, Man City, and Villa all coming up as well in March. So it's going to be a game that we could do with another 3 points. But yeah, absolutely proud of them last night. It was an entertaining game to watch from both teams.
Very good play to watch.
Oh yeah, definitely. Leeds, you can see Leeds under Bielsa. I can't pronounce his name. Bielsa.
Bielsa, that's the one.
Yeah, that's it. Under them, they're a great side. A lot different from when we played them in the Championship. And yeah, to see them come to Molineux and attack and try their best to do everything to score was always going to happen. But I always have confidence in our defence, especially with Rui at the back as well, who had probably one of the best games he's had in recent memory. And it was one of them where we needed a bit of luck, I reckon, to have got the goal. And I thought it would have come from Neto. I wasn't expecting Traore to score because that was probably the only thing Traore did all game for me, compared to what Neto did on the other side. But I'm so happy for him to get a goal, even though it's not classed as his goal, it's classed as an own goal. In my eyes, it's still his goal. It was a great shot, and we got the luck. But no, I think all the lads played well yesterday. Neto for me shined a lot, and that was just partly down to his work rate. He was all over the place and listening to his mom by shooting a lot as well.
I feel like he had a better first half. I feel like he fell a bit. He still had a fantastic game, don't get me wrong, but if you'd asked me on man of match at the end of the first half, I'd have said Neto. I think he didn't seem as on it, and there was that one chance where I think he should have played Jose, and I did think he was a little bit selfish on that in the second half.
It's interesting you should say that, because Mr. Blue Sky has just mentioned that in the comments. Amy said Josie needs more serve. Bit disappointed Neto when Josie was in a great position, because he wasn't he, running in, he was going to tap in.
Yeah.
Jose was quite quiet, and I don't think that was down to him, because he was getting in all the positions that he should be getting into. It was just that either the ball coming into him wasn't good enough, or they just chose to go and shoot instead of going to him. But it's one of them as well where if it pays off and we get a win from it, then I'm happy.
Yeah, it's fine, isn't it? It doesn't matter.
Yeah. But his day'll come, and it'll be one of them where he has made the team in a way a lot stronger than what it was by his hold-up play and the fact that, I don't think he's ever gave away a bad pass since he's played for us. And that's because he's always looking for the runs of Neto and Traore, and he's playing it off to them, then getting back into those positions, waiting for the ball to come back in. But no, I'm really happy because of the fact of 10 points from 4 games. You got Newcastle, who were down the bottom. You would think that we've got a good chance of getting 3 points there. And then anybody who ever thought there was in a relegation battle, this just sums it up that we never was. We just needed to hold out with the injuries, trust in Nuno to get them working, and it's paid off. And I hope it continues. I don't think we'll get anything at City. I do think we could do Villa over, but we can't underestimate them because it's Villa at the end of the day. And Liverpool, with the way Liverpool are being at the minute, we should try and take advantage of that and try and get something out of that as well.
Just quick thoughts as well, because there's a good point here from Mr. Tree. Thoughts on Neves' progression? Love to see feel he's obviously more aggressive, running forward, scoring goals. Do you think since he's had the baby, he kind of that's helped? Because obviously his child, he had to watch his child be born on a video camera on the thing, and his wife was very heavily pregnant. I've seen the last 2 or 3 games, he seems to be a lot more on it.
Well, I said in previous times I've been on here, Neves' work rate's immense. He was the only one that seemed like he wanted it more. He was the only one that was fighting for it more. Yesterday was probably one of his quieter games, but I think that's because everything, when you're watching the game, if you had to pick an instance like from the first half, it was all Neto. Give the ball to Neto. Neto was like running at them, shooting at them, doing everything, and it made everybody else kind of quiet on the pitch because you're not really looking out for them. But I think because Leeds stepped up their game, they came to us. They came with a determined to attack and try and get a result out of it. I think our whole team as a whole stepped up to try and do the same, try and attack them with our attack, and that's why it was such an entertaining game. Because 1 minute we're on the attack, 1 minute they're on the attack.
It's very end to end, wasn't it?
Oh, definitely, and it was a great game to watch. And I honestly thought, like I was saying to my dad, like it's one of them where if we don't get a goal soon, Leeds are going to score because Leeds were piling that pressure on in that second half. And then when Traore got that goal with the look that we got, it was one of them where I was like, that's come at a really good time. And he proved it when Bamford went and put it in the back of the net not long after. Lucky enough, offside. But it's one of them where I'm glad that we got the win. It doesn't matter how we got it, but we got the win. But we need to carry on with this momentum now and try and take that to Newcastle next.
Absolutely.
If March is probably going to be the toughest month we're going to face coming near the end of the season now in games. So it's one of them where we need another 3 points just to help us a little bit and then try and get something out the next 3.
Absolutely. So quickly, Scott, who is your man of the match and your rating?
Well, like you said, Neto, first off, it would have been him. But I've got to give it to Rui because Rui, that was probably one of his best games. And I was proud because of all the criticism that he's had in recent times. It was good to see him pull off the saves that he did and keep us in that game because Leeds, like I said, Leeds were going to get a goal at one point if we didn't hold our line, so to speak. Rating for the game, I'd definitely give it a 8 because there are still stuff we need to work on. This we're not, like Nuno says, we're not the finished article yet. We're still repairing. Like, for example, Marcel came on for Johnny and then Marcel had to come off because he wasn't fully fit enough to play. And it was a shame to see because it's one of them where I think the system with Johnny's working, bringing him on for a certain amount of time and then taking him away to give Marcel that time to ease back into it. But I think it's a bit too soon for Marcel. That's why he had to come off. But a lot of people were worried on Twitter as well yesterday that Johnny might be injured again. But as far as I'm aware, from what I've seen on his Instagram and other places, he's not injured.
It's just Scott.
Getting him back in.
We're going to get Thomas on. He's waiting in the background. What's your rating?
Definitely 8. Definitely 8.
Definitely an 8. Scott, thanks for coming on again and talking. I'll drop you a message afterwards about a couple of other things I want to talk to you about. Okay. And have a great day, mate.
Well, I've got 4 kids to entertain now, so it's going to be a busy one.
Good luck with that.
Fair enough, almost a 5-a-side team.
Oh, no, yeah. We just need one more.
All right. Take care, mate.
All the best. Bye.
So there's Scott. Next on, we've got Michael's young son, always talks really well. Welcome, Thomas.
Hi, Thomas.
Hello.
Family affair today. You okay?
Yeah. I'm good, thanks. Much better after that win because one thing was really promising after last night. We had the 1-0 lead and we didn't back off. We still went at them. And I think that was something that we've missed from quite a lot of games. And I feel like after last night, you look at the confidence. I thought Neto, he was more confident than anyone on the pitch. And, I mean, his mum, assistant coach for me, I mean, telling him to shoot more. I mean, Meslier made that good save. Was it going top corner or not? I'm not sure. I think Meslier positioned himself quite well because I feel like Neto's brilliant because even though he is very predictable, he makes himself unpredictable. When he cuts in, you can't do anything about it. When we had that chance where he did like that step over and then that pass was just too heavy, that's when you see he's got the potential. Yes, he should have passed to Willian, but with his confidence, I didn't think he would have. And I think Willian played well last night. You can see him sort of growing a bit more into the team. There were a few moments where he sort of held off his man, won the foul, stopped the play, and stopped their momentum, which then gave us possession. now only 7 points off Europe. I said to Dad last night on FaceTime, is this it? Are we going to do the impossible? So there's still 14 games left, I think.
I know, there's still so many games left, and I think everyone's kind of beating each other as well, aren't there, apart from City? It's probably one of the most competitive seasons within the Premier League, to be fair.
I think if we can snatch 7th, I think City or one of the big teams will win the FA Cup, which means teams like Everton or Bournemouth, if somehow they're doing a miracle. Because I fancy them to beat Southampton. I think they'll beat Southampton.
Thomas, do you realistically think Wolves can get 7th place?
Yes. You've got to hope. You've got to believe.
Everyone's so positive and hopeful.
Amy, remember when we were talking a few weeks ago, we were like, I hope we win because we want to have some more positivity. And now look at the positivity.
I love it. All about positivity.
Amy loves the positivity, Thomas. Well, we all do.
But I mean, you make a fair point, Thomas, because you say about the cup, but I honestly think that City could win the quadruple this year, which would be amazing to see. Because it's never been done before, I don't think. But they'll win the League Cup because that's their cup. They're going to win the league. You see them win the FA Cup, and then I think they're going to give the Champions League a good run. So, I don't think we'd have had much chance against them anyway in the cup.
I don't think we're going to beat City. I think Liverpool. I mean, Alisson, and I think it's just that of cohesion of bringing in that centre back for them. I asked you a couple of times on stream about which defender you'd like, and I mean, we were linked with Ruben Diaz, but obviously he's going to pick City. Anyone would at the moment, but just a solid centre back that could play the ball out from the back is what I think we need.
I think, Thomas, that's going to be a priority for Wolves in the summer window. I think the summer window is going to be quite an important one for us because not just from the transfer, but the players need a rest. They need to see their families. They need to have a holiday. And Nuno needs to have proper, if he's going to change and play a more permanent back four, he needs more training with them, where we only had 2 weeks we had, Amy, between the start of last season.
2 weeks, which that's not a pre-season. You just pick up from where you left off, don't you? You don't try anything new. So I think that's shown with them going back to back five. They just know their role so much better. They've all played in the system for so long, and especially with Johnny coming back in. I mean, he's fundamental to that way that they play. So that's just lifted their confidence, hasn't it? Johnny coming back. I think that's really key to note with the improved performances. Is there's a direct link to that little Spaniard coming back?
Well, that's a great point.
I thought last night there was some real positive sort of link-up play. I think when Aid Nuri came on, there was a moment where he sort of dropped the shoulder, went on, and then the pass, and then pass. It was a lot more smooth, and because there were some moments where there's a loose ball, and Neves will pick out some sort of pass that we don't know. Also, Rui Patricio is a legend. He's the biggest reason we won that game. Him and Adama, because Adama suddenly shot up as well. Everyone had this confidence. And, I mean, I went into that thinking this is going to be high scoring. But 1-0 twice against Leeds. A clean sheet again. And, I mean, there's that little bit of hope that we can still get into Europe. We've got to depend on other teams as well. But apart from that, I also thought Cody did well last night. It must be something about Southgate. He must just turn. I said to Dad.
I heard it. Southgate was there last night.
Yeah, he was there. They put him on the camera.
Yeah, I think that performance will be big if he wants to get into England. Because he just suddenly turned into this world-class centre back. There was one point where the ball smashed into his head and he was on the ground, and at the same time he looked exhausted, and it shows how. When you look when we concede, like when we did, or when we lose in the final minutes, he drops to the ground because he's so gutted, and that shows passion for me in the club. Semedo, again, has got to improve on his finishing, but I thought he did well.
I thought he had a good game last night, Semedo.
Yeah.
Thought he's played well the last few games, to be honest,
Yeah.
Semedo. I think he's grown into the lead.
Yeah,
And that was you have to say that was I mean, I know Neto gets criticism probably that one opportunity when he should have passed to Jose. He went for the goal. He's full of confidence. His head was down. If he'd have looked up, there was a pass on. But the little outside of the boot flick to set Semedo up.
Yeah.
That was instinctive that he did that, and that was good to see as well.
Yeah.
So credit for that, because Semedo probably should have done better to finish it.
But he still had a shot.
Yeah, Thomas, you've got a minute and a half left, so we need your man of the match and your overall rating for the performance.
I'm gonna change the man of the match from everyone else, and I'm gonna go with Cody. I thought he did well last night. Quite a few challenges, got caught late as well, but he always seems to power on through every match. And the rating, I think I said 8 in the stream. I'm gonna go 8 again, because we should have done better when defending set pieces, I thought.
Yeah.
Because they look really different from that. But overall, a really good performance, good signs, and a chance for Europe.
And Patrick Moran says, I think this is addressed at you, Thomas. A clever and positive young man, really knows his football. So take that as a compliment, mate.
Right, Brill. Well, it's lovely to have you on again, Thomas. Have a good weekend, and we'll speak to you next time.
Thank you.
Take care, mate. Later. So back in the green room at the moment, we've got Paul, Speedy, Manny, and Bib. I think Bib might be a first time caller. And I have got to say as well, my dad, I rang him on FaceTime earlier, and he's feeling a lot better. He's told me that he's going to try and get the YouTube up on his telly, and he's going to be watching everyone. So everyone's say hi to Magic Mosh in the comments, because hopefully my dad, hello Dad, is watching this one. So next up we've got Paul, who sometimes is known as
Jota. Jota's back.
Morning.
Hi, Paul. Jota. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very good, thanks. Good.
I can't remember when we last spoke to you. Was it after the Chelsea game?
It was, yeah, after that 0-0 at Chelsea, yeah.
And how do you feel now? Because it was quite a positive conversation after the Chelsea game, wasn't it? So how have your thoughts and feelings towards their performances, the results, how have they changed in that period of time?
Yeah, I think you said performances and results there, and I think both of those have improved since we last spoke. And I think the performances have improved down to two things. We look a lot more solid again, like our old selves at the back, hard to play against. But we also seem to have a bit more attacking intent. I know you can't say that about the first half at Southampton, but we came out looking to score the first goal last night, and I thought there was a real noticeable shift in how they approach the match.
Yeah, I think for me they just seem so much confident in themselves. Like before, pre-Chelsea game, they just heads were down. It was just very negative. The whole body language and everything was very negative. So I think that's certainly it's just obvious, isn't it? They're just coming on. They seem to be enjoy playing together, and it all just seems to be linking back together again, which is really nice to see.
Yeah, I think Nuno deserves an awful lot of credit because of this inverted winger system that he's brought in since the half-time in the Southampton match. He's realised that it wasn't working because you could... Neto and Traore have been getting in quite a lot of crosses, particularly against Leicester, from the byline, from wide positions, but there's only been Jose in there, really. So he's come up with a different solution, his favourite word. And for me, it's really working well. And 2, maybe even 3 of the goals that we've scored since half-time against Southampton have been a direct result of this inverted winger system. They're linking up better now. They're closer to Jose, which allows other people to come into the attacks as well. So it's only quite a subtle tweak, but I think it's making a huge difference.
Yeah, I agree. It's allowed them because they naturally drift towards their more comfortable sides. And I think it's I mean, you'd have thought they'd have discussed that before, but for Adama and Neto to come on the pitch second half against Southampton and play, which you would argue be out their comfort zone and do it very effectively and very well. You know, hats off to those two players for making it look easy, to be fair, because I'm sure it's not as easy as it looks. Or, but yeah, no, I think you make a really good point there, Paul. And I think everyone who had their Nuno out placards ready can just go and put them in the bin again, please.
Yeah, I was never in camp.
I know you weren't, but we had a few people.
Myself.
So what would you like to see going into the Newcastle match, Paul?
More of the same, really. I'd like to see us go into Newcastle on the front foot. I'd like to see us score the first goal, because I think we're such a dangerous team to play against when we are one goal ahead, because we've got such pace that we can hurt teams with on the break. But also we've proved over the past three seasons in the Premier League that we're more than capable of sitting in deep and protecting a lead. So that ability to sit deep and shut teams out and then exploit gaps with our pace on the break is a real weapon for us.
Yeah.
And not scoring the first goal 14 games in a row has really hurt us. And I think that's one of the main reasons that we slipped down the table. So Newcastle are very beatable. It's big that they've got Callum Wilson out, I think, as well, because he's such a...
He's their main goal threat, really, isn't he, Paul?
Yeah, big talisman for them. So, yeah, I want to see us go and score the first goal at Newcastle. And it's a winnable match, but it won't be easy. I know people will look at the fact that Newcastle are getting dragged into a relegation scrap and think, oh, we've got a divine right to go and get 3 points there. They'll make us work for it, but I think we should definitely think that we can go there and pick up another 3 points and put a bit of pressure on some of those teams above us, like Tottenham, like Villa. I think it's great that people haven't written the season off now, because if you'd have asked us 3 or 4 games ago, the main aim probably was just to keep a bit of distance between us and the bottom 3.
Yeah, absolutely.
If we take another 4 points, say, from the next 2 matches, who's to say that we can't go and finish the season on a high? And even if we don't qualify for Europe, which is a big ask, at least it's given us something to look forward to, a bit of optimism, a bit of positivity. And then with the summer, a proper summer break, a good transfer window, who's to say that we can't actually go on and really push for Europe again next season?
Yeah, I think
Can I say, Amy, just before I come and ask one final question before you get on to think, you know, Paul, you know the athletic quiz that was run by Tim Spears and Jackie Oakley? I don't know if you know about this. There was a quiz. There was over 100 fans in this quiz. Guess who won the quiz and is representing Wolves in the national final?
Is it Paul? Our Jota Paul.
It is.
Oh, well done, Paul. That's fantastic. When's the
really
final?
Enjoyable evening, Dave, wasn't it? You were part of it as well, weren't you?
I was, but I didn't do anywhere near as good as you. I kept losing my internet connection on my app as well. It was like I'm timing out. And he literally, if you can imagine, obviously you being a runner, and you know how you see on the Olympics how a runner comes off the bend and wins it at the end. I don't know where you were, but you came out of absolutely nowhere up the thing. And then there was one chap, I think it was Gully, wasn't he, from the fan cast, that was winning it for most of the thing. I felt, you know, and Paul, right at the last, he just literally took him on. It literally was almost a photo finish. How many points did you get, and how many points difference was there?
It wasn't many. It was down to 1 question's difference, I think, but I really wasn't expecting to win. But I think Tim Spears is roughly the same age as me, and he wrote questions. So he's probably grown up like me, watching the same kind of Wolves teams.
Eras and games.
Yeah,
and
so
stuff.
I think that really helped.
You know, you can only answer the questions that are in front of you, Paul. So you won, and that's fantastic. So that's great. Yeah,
it was a real surprise, but in some of the boring times we've had during lockdown, it was a rare, exciting evening.
Do you know when the final is?
It's something like the 3rd week in March. They haven't confirmed it to me yet, but from what I understand, it's a bit more general knowledge about football. So I think there's going to be 20 fans because it's 20 Premier League teams.
Yeah.
So I'll do my best for the...
Well, let us know how you get on and when it is, and we'll all be rooting for you.
Thanks. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Paul, we'll get you on here as well after it to tell everyone how you've got on as well.
Yeah, more than happy anytime. It's always good to have a chat.
So just to finish off, who was your man in the match and what was your rating?
Thomas mentioned Connor Cody, and he was outstanding. But in terms of who's made the difference between 3 points, 1 point, and no points, it's Rui for me. I'd give the rating 8 because there is room for improvement. But a couple of other callers have mentioned defending from set pieces. That is something that's got to be addressed for Newcastle next week. And also our delivery off our attacking set pieces. When you compare Moutinho's deliveries to Rafinha's last night, they were on delivery. So I want to see an improvement on that moving forwards.
Great. Fantastic. Well, thanks for joining us again.
Yeah, pleasure to speak to you, and look forward to talking soon.
I hope you can get on another one soon as well, Paul, because you always make some brilliant points as well. Very, very good. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Cheers, and you. See you soon, everyone.
See you later. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, how good's that for Paul? That's quite a thing, because there was loads in there, and I say he won it. He is very, very modest. But look forward to getting him on and talking more about that. Just backstage at the moment, we've got James, Manny, and Binny. So next up is going to be young James. Hello, James. Welcome.
Hi, James.
Yeah, turn on your sound so we can hear you. There we
go. Are you okay?
Yes, are you?
Yes, I'm good, thank you. Very good after last night.
Yeah, no, it's a good performance.
How did you and your mum find it?
I think my mum was more stressed than me. Obviously, being autistic, I don't like to get too overwhelmed, if you ought to be, because I do have meltdowns. But I think, like you, Dave, I think on the if we had like a little bingo draw, like what numbers Dave's going to get stressed at, not like a horrible way, because you always go, this is the stressful part. And I said 86-22. My mum was right. I think you said it on 91, something like that. And she goes, I win. I goes, you win then, like that. But yeah.
Dave gets stressed. I never.
I do get stressed those last 5 or 10 minutes every game. It's kind of like the anxiety goes up. Although I was fairly chilled out because I thought we managed the game well at the end.
I think though that's what you need to say. They need to have more than one goal in it. That's what gets us stressed, is the fact that it's always like a 1-0 or a 2-1 or something. Yeah. That's what gets the heart levels up. I said the other week to my dad, I was like, imagine, do you reckon if they did like a study on people's like cardio and life expectancy, football fans would have a lesser life expectancy because of the stress on their heart at the end of games? Yeah. I reckon there's something in that, to be honest. Anyway, you usually have stat man, Speedy, so what stats have you got for me today? Fantastic. Here we go.
Just quickly about cardiovascular, I think I'd be about 20, but she's about 8. Anyway, I'm joking. Thanks for letting me on the show. I know they say this every time. Hello, Magic Moss, if he's watching. He's a legend, Dave. You should be proud. And like you said, Dave, here's a stat for you. First time in 17 games, Wolves have scored first, I think. I'm not 100%, but I think that's... well, I think I'm all right with that, hopefully. So shots, Wolves had 15, Leeds had 18. On target, Wolves had 5, Leeds had 7. Possession, 41% for Wolves, 59 for Leeds. Passes, 308 for Wolves, 440 for Leeds. Passing accuracy, 75% for Wolves, 80% for Leeds. 13 fouls for Wolves and 8 fouls for Leeds. Yellow cards, Wolves had the only 1 and Leeds had none. No one got sent off, thank goodness. Offsides, Bamford for Leeds, and I don't know who was offside for Wolves, I'm afraid, but Wolves had 1. Corners, 7, and for Wolves, and 9 for Leeds. And then, sorry, you can question me now. Sorry.
I love the stats. What's your favourite stat out of those, Speedy?
Oh, thank you.
Which one impresses you most?
I'd probably say, for me, when I play football, I like passing the ball rather than being greedy. So I like probably the passing accuracy the most, really. So yeah, passing accuracy. For asking, by the way. And
that's high for both teams, really. So yeah, it shows what a competitive game it was.
It was an intense game, and I think my mum said, "Do you think it'll be a high scoring game?" I goes, "No, I think both teams are so similar and so well drilled and so organised. It was always going to be like your dad says, Dave, Magic Moss. It's always Wolves are going to create their own look, and I think they did. Obviously, it was a great strike. I hope Adama's back to a kick. I know he's an absolute brute. He's massive, his hench. But I hope he's all right because, well, he was a great player and it was a great goal. And yeah, I think Wolves did get the look, but that's football, really. But yeah, and by the way, I do feel much calmer. I know every time I come in, I'm like, oh, you know what I mean. But I feel so much calmer today. When I'm talking, I feel more calm. If you know what I mean, I'm happy. You know what I mean, but yeah.
Good. That's good. So to finish off, who was your man of the match and what was your overall rating?
Man of the match, my mum said Semedo because she thought he had his best game, and I do agree. To be honest, when Semedo first came in, I thought, because he's come from Barcelona, you expect this like a great defender, like because Doherty was such a great right back. Sorry, I'll need to look at the camera like my mum says. Because Doherty was such a great right back. I'm just gonna look at the camera. I can't. I'll carry on.
Doesn't matter. Don't look if you don't need to.
Sorry, I'm sorry. It's not personal to you. I just can't focus. So yeah, Patrizio was my man of the match. Followed by second by a close Semedo. A close second Semedo. He had his best game for me. First half rating was a 7. Second half was an 8. Great goal of Adama. Entertaining game. And I've got an additional note if that's okay, or am I run out of time? You
can say your additional note. That's fine.
Thank you very much. So the 4 points off 7, like Thomas says, and I believe they could get Europe. That's me being positive because I think like you should be positive in life. Keep the momentum going because obviously, like Scott said, March is going to be a difficult month. And also, Dave, if possible, and Amy, if possible, could I come on the Newcastle game as I've got a special guest with me on the Newcastle game, and you'll like him. You'll like him.
Is that the extra time show for Newcastle, James?
I'll let you into it. My mum said not to tell you because it's a surprise. But basically, we've got this.
Well, hold the surprise.
No, we don't want to know. We don't want to know. Don't tell us. Don't tell us.
Do what your mum says. I mean, Neto listens to his mum, so you should as well.
Listen to your mum.
You didn't. Mum, I'm listening.
So we'll get you and the surprise on for Newcastle. Your books. Yeah. Just make sure you message us.
I will do. Thank you very much, legends.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Same to you.
Fantastic.
Bye.
What a lovely young man he is as well. Oops, sorry. Sorry about that. I'll click the wrong one there. Sorry about
I'll be
that.
off. See you, Dave.
James is trying to get in on the main house. Sorry about that, Amy.
Right.
I am laughing a lot today, which is brilliant. Next up, we have our fellow Always Wolves podcast host and Samosa King, Maddie.
How you doing?
Is that Molyneux?
Have you walked there?
It's the best place to be on a Saturday, isn't it? Come on.
Well, normally, yeah, it would be, yeah.
It's the only place to be. I'm just knocking on the door. Nobody will let me in. Somebody let me in. How you doing?
All right, thanks. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you very much.
Good. How did you tell us your thoughts of last night?
Oh, last night was a good.
He's still there.
Solid,
he's been there since last night.
Good, solid, strong performance. Started pressing higher, which we don't do. Wolves are the worst side in the Premier League in last third pressing stats, and I think yesterday it must have been our highest pressing game in the final third of the season, and it seemed like Nuno had decided to play Leeds at their own game because we know that's the kind of thing Leeds do. It left us, really comfortable because we play 5 at the back. The defence looked solid as always, in that 5. Conceded very little. Apart from set pieces where, let's be honest, I don't know what the hell was happening at that far post. It seemed like Leeds had like 5 players every time the ball went in. So that's something they've got to sort out. But it was just a solid, strong 50-50 game. We can't say we totally and utterly dominated it start to finish and we were the only winners. And in those games, you need a moment, don't you? You just need a moment of a bit of inspiration. And the inspiration is provided by one man who gets so much stick, because we expect him to beat 10 men and score in the top corner every time he gets the ball. Adama plays high-risk football. High risk means he gets the ball and he tries to beat everybody with his pace. Now, 9 times out of 10, you ain't going to actually be successful with that. But that one time, you might just win the match. And that's what he provides. Somebody asked me yesterday, said, what do you think of Adama? I said, Adama's like Christmas, and he comes once a year. There's only one moment you'll get from Adama, one moment in a game, and it might just win you the game. And he's that type of player. I think we're never going to change him into a 90 minutes constantly. Neto's more of a runner. He's got more fitness. He seems to have more idea. Adama is just a box of tricks. Can he produce something? And in tight matches like that, he can come up with the goods, and he did, and really deserved that goal, didn't he? I mean, the shot was,
it was
brilliant.
a phenomenal shot, and the way that he got played in, and then he just ran and went round about 3 or 4 player and they didn't even attempt to mark him, did they? They just kind of just.
It is impossible to mark. What they did really well was as soon as he gets the ball, they were on top of him. So that's the only. As soon as he gets the ball, be there, because if he has a second to touch the ball and turn, then you're sort of in trouble, because the only thing you can do then is break it, bring him down, or either he loses the ball through his bad play. So, I thought, yeah, we were on the front foot. Front foot is the key, isn't it? We said that against Southampton, and we had a rubbish, probably the worst first half of the season, possibly even worse than the cup game. That first half was against Southampton. He changes it.
It was awful, wasn't it?
Yeah, he changes it at half time, and you have to give him credit, because you can give him stick for maybe picking the wrong players or the wrong formation or trying things, but when he gets it right, you have to praise somebody, and he was brave enough to switch it, and it worked. We've scored the both goals against Southampton, and the goal yesterday were scored because Nuno decided to switch the wingers, and they both cut in. Adama's cut in twice. It's created 2 goals. Neto cut in and produced magic and scored a goal. So it's
fair,
a big break.
I think I mentioned this. I like the fact that they've done that, because I think sometimes Adama could get trapped right when they put 3 on him. When he does that, when they switch, he's got more open space to run into, and it messes up their game plan, because they don't always have him going down the side. Like the goal, he literally cut inside, kept going, and the shot that he unleashed was an absolute rocket. I mean, we got lucky, but I think sometimes in life you make your own luck, don't you? And it was just, I was like, oh, so unlucky, and then it bounced down and went in. The fact that he let the shot go and he had the confidence to do that was brilliant. I think
there's plenty of moments. There's plenty of moments in football. We look in the past where the luck hasn't gone with us, we think, oh no, how has that happened, and we've had, you look at Man United away, a nothing game, 0-0, that's a point, and suddenly the striker cuts in, a big deflection in the back of the net. So that happens. You get good luck, you get bad luck. Rashford made his luck by having a shot. So Traore made his luck by having a shot, and there was a lot he did. He ran about 30, 40, 50 yards and unleashed rocket of a shot, so he's done enough to create that luck. It's not just being given to him on a plate. And it was always going to be that kind of match, one moment, and we had the moment and we won the match. Was it 3 clean sheets in 5 games? We're looking solid. We've gone back to 5 at the back. The way we know how to play, the players struggled in the 4. We created more, but we struggled at the back. Connor Cody just looks at home since he's had samosas, Dave. Well, he hasn't lost a game. 6 points out of 6. Must be the magic. No. And a big shout out to my man of the match, Nelson Semedo.
He had a great game, to be fair.
Rui Patricio just did what it says on the tin. He's a great goalkeeper. And actually, all the saves Rui made, I'd expect Rui to make, all of them, because a lot of them were straight at him. But he was really commanding, came out, caught the ball. It was a typical proper Rui performance. So,
and it's good to see, because he's, I know a few people on here have said, oh, Rui's had his day and stuff. So it was really good to see him do what he does well.
I reckon back in our day, Gordon Banks and Peter Shilton made the odd mistake. It happens, man. You
Of
make
course it
mistakes. You know what I mean? So what? Like strikers miss chances and goalkeepers make errors. That happens. But, you know, when it comes to that big moment in a tight game and you need your keeper to pull off a save to win the game, he does that. And he can do that in those moments, you know.
I'll tell you what, Manny, I'm glad he made that save from Costa at the end. Can you imagine it Costa to score?
Well, you know what? We know when former players come back to Molineux, we know we've had it in the past many times, you know. You're always dreading, you know, them coming up and turning up and doing something. And yeah, that was a pretty bad moment for us, but he was there to save it, and it's part of the gameplay, isn't it? Saving goals is as big as scoring goals, you know. So yeah, brilliant. But Nelson Semedo, you know, what happened with him is he's been freed up. Him and Adama does not work. Both of them don't know how to play with each other. Adama doesn't know where to go. They make the same runs. They get in each other's way. As soon as Adama switches the other side, Nelson Semedo's got the freedom to do what he wants. And he's an attacking fullback in a 5 suits him. And, you know, the guy could have scored. He just could have scored a hat-trick yesterday.
Yeah.
A fullback, you know.
Really
So,
good.
hats off to, because the thing is, he got so much stick because, again, it's all that money and he's from Barcelona and he must be a sensational player. And it just doesn't work like that.
No.
We see with Willian Jose, you know, scores goals in La Liga, comes here. It's a faster
Different
game.
league, faster
It's a
game,
faster
physical game.
It's constant. You don't get a moment, and you can see him slowly improving and adapting. He just gets a little bit tired. But another last bit, Silva coming on those 5 minutes when Fabio came on. In 5 minutes, Fabio looked brilliant, ran everywhere, showed the ball, had
I
a
was
shot.
impressed with him when he came
Never
on.
hit. It's so
And
easy.
that's what
for
the
a young-
plan was. That's
Yeah.
what the plan was.
You know what? If you think about it, it would have been so easy for Fabio to hide and think I'm suffering and just see the 5 minutes out, and he wasn't. He showed for the ball. He wanted the, and that's what we bought him for. He's 18 years old. People writing him off. I've heard people writing him off even on this channel, you know, and it's just horrific that
Ridiculous.
an 18-year-old kid will be written off, you know.
It's ridiculous. But anyway,
when he's 26 and 27 and got 200 goals, we'll probably think, bloody hell, why did we write him off?
He'll have a statue where you're stood now if that happens.
We may do, we may not. But the thing is, the point is, whether he scores goals at Molineux or he serves food at Asda, we don't know, you know. But the thing is, you got to give him a chance at 18 to prove himself. And he has it. You can't write an 18-year-old kid. I wouldn't write my own son off if he had a passion at 18, would I? So definitely a good performance, but not. Keep a bit of balance. You know, this isn't, you can't 1 week say, oh, we're going to get relegated because we've lost. And the next week say, oh, we're going to go into Europe. You're going to have a bit of balance about yourselves. You know,
that's football, in it, mate. You know what it's like. It's like how
people get carried away. Remember when we all thought we were going to be in the Champions League last year for that period of time?
I don't expect us to get into Europe this season. I just want a good, solid, positive end, get a few players back. Get more minutes into Johnny, get Pedence back. Maybe Raul has the odd game if he does. But, you know, just get that team, get that balance and finish positively, playing on the front foot, scoring goals, conceding less, and get back in there next season.
Absolutely. And one word, what was your rating? Give me a number.
I'll give it a 7, because 7 out of 10, more than not, will get you points. You know what I mean? So that will do. It was a Johnny type performance, an Johnny Irwin performance. You know, a 7 out of 10.
Fantastic. Well, it's good to see you anyway at the Molineux.
No problem.
And we'll see you on a podcast real soon, man.
Please don't report me for being out and about at Molineux. I actually live here, so it's my home.
Enjoy the rest of your day, mate.
Okay, see ya.
Bye.
And thank you. And thanks ever so much for Bib, who's been waiting very patiently backstage. Mate, I think it's his debut. So let's welcome him, everyone, to the channel. Hey, Bib.
Hello. How
Hi,
you doing,
Bib.
guys? You all right?
Thanks for joining us.
How are you?
Tell you what, not too bad. Go on,
What's
sorry,
your
Dave.
points that you want to make?
What's the points I was looking to make? All I wanted to say pretty much was first half was brilliant, carried on from the second half of Southampton. 3 people were really, really good. Nelson Semedo, Jean Martinho, who again's had a lot of criticism. I thought he dictated the midfield very well. And Neto, I mean, it was like he had that great opportunity and then he took his mum's advice a little bit too literally. He just kept shooting absolutely everywhere. It was quite funny to see. And to be fair, there's not many teams where you can, obviously we all know how Leeds play. They like to play that pressing game. They obviously, like to, be straight in your faces. It just seemed as though with us though, we managed to kind of nullify the press and we kind of nullified what Leeds were very good at. I felt as though we did very, very well in that regard as well. And it's honestly a superb 3 points. Hopefully that builds us on to next season where it's all about now seeing who's going to be good enough for next season, who's going to be moving us forward. So I don't think I think they talk about Europe obviously is a bit too much. I don't think there was any ever really fear of relegation. It's just going to be a case of where can we go from next season? Who's going to be good enough to take that next step, really?
Yeah, definitely. I think you made some really, really good points there. I like the point you made about Moutinho, because I do think he's had quite a tough time recently with a lot of fans. And I think since he's scored that worldy goal against Arsenal, he seems to be finding his feet a bit more. And you can the guy is so impressive considering how many games he's played and the amount of time he's been playing football. He's just amazing, isn't he? So I think you couldn't really, they all had a very good game. You could look at each of them and say that they brought different qualities to the game. I personally like Neves last night. I thought he was so, working with Moutinho, the way he was playing in midfield, he was just got the ball, get winning balls. They seem to just be, they'd lose the ball, and for me, they were losing the ball, but then in previous games, they've laid off the ball, they've gone really backs up against the wall, but they're just going for it. Last night, they'd lose it, they'd get it back, they'd lose it, they'd get it back. And that was just very nice to see that bit more aggressive side to them again. But yeah, I think you made some really good points there.
Do you think the confidence has seeped back into the side, Bib?
I'd say that confidence is obviously a massive thing in football, and it does look as though the players are playing with a lot more confidence. But I think also in turn, I've given Nuno a lot of criticism. I can't lie.
Were you a Nuno out person?
I'll be completely honest with you and say yes, I was. And to be fair,
our first one, Dave, that's actually come on.
No, fair play. To be honest, I mean, there's a few people saying that you'd think you're the Nuno out, but as I think what we've got to do. When you're a channel, you're a game, it's all about opinions and different.
Yeah, absolutely.
As long as it's put across in the right way, then all opinions are welcome, whether or not people agree or disagree. Football's about passion. And,
no, absolutely.
So that all opinions are welcome.
No, I've always, this is one of the reasons why I've said Nuno out. And I'm not going to say 100% that view has necessarily changed, but it is definitely going in the right direction. The reason why is because if you look at the way that we was playing, I'd probably say from West Bromwich Albion, and even you could probably say as early as Burnley, it looked as though with the performances, there was no improvement. It didn't seem like that there was any, desire to just change. We changed the system week in, week out, and it just seemed as though the players weren't suiting either the 5 or the 4 at that point. Injuries definitely didn't help us, but at the end of the day, we were still creating a lot of opportunities and still not putting them away. And it just seemed as though like the players just weren't playing for Nuno. And it's all about, is Nuno going to be the man to take us forward? I mean, to be quite truthful, I was a bit very sceptical. But if we carry on the way that we're going, especially the last 2 performances, they've shown that there is a direction under Nuno. They've shown that there's a way that we can actually improve. And I feel as though a lot of, views will definitely change on that point of view. But yeah, I was about to say, Dave, you're spot on in regards of like passion and everything. Like everyone's got a different view, haven't they? If everyone had the same view, it would all be boring, wouldn't it?
We'd all be robots. Exactly. Right,
no,
haven't you? But you could see, to be honest, the strain on Nuno's face a few games ago, desperate for the win, and you can see the body language has kind of changed now. And I think that's the same for the whole squad, because there was that stress and worry when you're going through a period where you just can't buy a win. And as a fan, you're looking at it and thinking, where is the next win going to come from? And confidence, it doesn't matter whether you're Ronaldo or Messi or wherever you are, your confidence goes out. You start playing safe. You stop playing free-flowing football. You stop playing instinctively. You pass it sideways. You pass it backwards. And sometimes you need a little bit of luck to change the course of your game. And we had that against Arsenal. And since then, you can see, I think, especially the second half in the Southampton game and how it's carried on into the Leeds game.
Yeah.
The belief and the confidence now is seeped in, and they're starting to play like those little flicks that we expect that making those moves. Whereas before, they'd play it safe, not to make a mistake. And if you play like that and you play in fear, you're always on the back foot.
Yeah.
So my personal view, Bib, is, as I've always, and I think Amy's along the same, I think we have been in exceptional circumstances this year, what with 2-week break, the injuries that we've had, the change in formation, losing Johnny, selling obviously Doherty, the wing backs, the new wing backs coming in, injuries, and Bolly getting injured, Jimenez getting injured, trying to play the back four and then not having the players to do it. I think the real acid test in terms of Nuno's leadership, and I expect him to pass this test, will be after the summer transfer window, after they've had a proper pre-season and then 10 games into next season. I think if we were playing the same way as we were 10 games into next season, that might be the point where you think. I think the signs are on the door now that we're coming out of that bad. And sometimes you have to take a step back, go through crap and hard times. And as an individual and as a team in life, sometimes you have those bad moments, but you come out stronger for it. And I'm hoping that's what we're going to see going forward for the rest of the season and into next season.
I think everyone's hoping for it, to be honest. Like, I think for me, it's always been a case of like, everything's all about Wolverhampton Wanderers. And one of the big things that I've always said is like, I don't want at the club any room for like sentimental value. If I feel as though either it's a player or if it's a manager, if they're not in the position where to move us forward, then I feel as though that's where you get rid of them. Like, that's what we did when we first got promoted. If you remember, Barry Douglas was gone. There was quite a few other players that left us as well. And we improved on that. This is probably, but you could probably say last couple of windows probably necessarily haven't been the greatest. We probably haven't added enough depth than what we needed to. And I think that ultimately goes down to Nuno wanting a small squad as well. I just feel as though now we're in a position where it looks like we've got the starting 11 pretty much nailed on and we've got that sorted. It's just going to be a case of now just adding extra bodies in those areas, especially if we're going to be pushing towards Europe next season, which ultimately I think that's going to be the aim for many fans. It's just going to be a case of build on for next season. And I just hope we can keep Neves and Neto, to be honest.
Yeah.
And
so
he
was...
Go on, Amy, go on.
I was just going to say, who's your man of the match and what was your rating?
I'd probably say 7 out of 10, just for the simple reason where we stick 11 men or we stick everyone behind the ball and we still can't seem to defend set pieces. That's been a problem since Nuno first came in. I think probably as well going forward, I felt as though shooting from distance, we got our luck. We made our own luck as well. It was just, there wasn't really any like clinical like ability in the final third, like anyone to sort of add up and link up all the play. Man of the match, I'd probably say, I think Manny made a great point with Patricio. Their routine saves are the saves you'd expect to make. I'd probably say Semedo. Like at points in the first half, he was playing as like a right winger, but it was absolutely brilliant. That's a superb 3 points.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks for coming on for the first time. It's good to have you on.
Making your debut. Well done, mate.
I was about to say, I was not going to lie to you, kind of shaking a little bit. So, it's one of them, really.
No,
it's
great, fella. And thanks for coming on the channel and enjoy the rest of your weekend, mate.
You too, Dave. Stay
See
safe,
you later.
Amy.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
So we've had some. To be fair, it's great to have that view come on because, as I say, game's all about opinions, isn't it, Amy? Absolutely, always about opinions. So we obviously welcome them, and it's just nice to have a bit of positivity, which I think we all definitely needed. But this is a place for people to also have their frustrations equally. We just ask them to be constructive. Opinions are what makes football, is why we love football, and as long as it's put away and put across in the right way, all opinions are welcome. I think it's been an absolutely fantastic one today. Obviously, because of the 8 o'clock late night, we've had to do it the following day. And if we have any midweek games, it's going to be the same sort of thing, isn't it? Ames as well, because obviously both back at working now, back off. You're back off furlough and everything.
Back off furlough.
Just to take what are your points to take away from today's extra time, Ames?
I think it's just nice to see them have the confidence back, and it just, this period and what's happened over the last few weeks is just what encapsulates why we are football fans and why we support a team like Wolves, because we know that it can't you can't win all the time. It's not possible to win all the time, and you have to experience the harder times to appreciate the good times. So it's just really nice that they seem to have started to work things out, and it's nice as fans to start to enjoy watching the games again, and also look forward to the games, which a few weeks ago was quite a struggle. So yeah, really positive.
For us to finish off with, Amy, I think there's a good point. Do you think there's a glimmer of hope of sneaking that Europa League, or is that just like a little bit?
I'm happy for them to just not get relegated this year. I think it's a weird season. I still concerns about what the face of football will be next season with everything that's going on in the world. So I think let's just have a really positive season, well off the drop, play really well. Maybe when they're completely safe, try a few things before they get into the page. Europe would be nice, but I'm just happy to see them play well again, to be honest. What about yourself?
Do you know what? It's funny. Do you think I'm a bit like you, Amy? I'm kind of like, I feel so much less anxious now. And I think that comes through with the team. And I think that's how we feel. Because I was looking over my shoulder. I was saying, we're not in a relegation battle, but if the results kept going the same way, like we've had 10 points out the last 12, if you only had 3 of those points, we'd only be on something like 26 points.
Yeah.
We're pretty safe now. I feel like that he can take the shackles off. Got to keep the defence strong at the back. If we go and beat Newcastle and we get a result against City, who knows, then it's possible. Someone said, I think we're only 3 or 4 points worse off than we were this time last season. Is that right?
Yeah. And then my dad said something the other day. Oh, I can't remember what he said. He was working something out, and he said, well, if we do this, win this amount of games, then we'll finish with 60 points, which is more than we had last year. So, things can change, can't they? Things can change. My prediction is Wolves are going to take points off City, because we always do well. We always do well against City. I feel it as well. We always do well against City, and I think they'll have to lose points. They're not going to. I don't think they're going to carry on this streak. So you heard it here first. Wolves will take points off. I don't know if we'll win, but I think we'll take points off them.
We are a little bit of a bogey side for City as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think psychologically as well, their players have that at the back of the mind. It's Wolves again when they come. And we should have done
better. We should have done better against them at Molineux. That was a very disappointing game. So I think, if we carry on the momentum from this run, I think we could play them at a very good time.
And they've got, like I say, they've got to lose They've got to lose sooner or later. We've got Liverpool coming up as well. Might be the worst time to be playing them at the moment either.
Well, we've got to beat Liverpool in the league at some point, because we only seem to ever beat them in the cup. So it would be, we should have beat them at Molineux last year. It was ridiculous losing that game. But anyway,
we'll probably have 2 goals ruled out by VAR against them as usual. That's what normally happens, isn't it?
Probably. So.
Anyway, absolutely fantastic extra time, guys. Thanks for joining us. Obviously, if the games are early enough, they will be after the match. But obviously, sometimes we have to put them to the next day. And it's great that you've still been able to join us. Thanks to all our guests today. Before you go, if you could please smash a like on the video as we log out. That does help with the analytics for our YouTube. And if you're listening to us afterwards on the podcast, I hope you've enjoyed this one as well. And if you want to get on the next one, which will be the Newcastle, just drop the Always Wolves Facebook page a message, and you can get involved with me and Amy on the channel. As always, we do wish you and your families all the best. And just to finish, so goodbye from me.
Bye from me.
And to everyone, we are, as always, always
Wolves.